Hi, good morning. Today we are going to start our next section, invertible operators. Okay. Now we are considering an operator A belongs to L of X. Okay. Then what do you mean by A inverse? B is called A inverse or inverse operator of A if and only if BA equal to ID. ID means identity operator. Similarly, AB is equal to ID. Okay, this is the definition of an inverse operator. So, AB equal to ID need not imply BA equal to ID in the case of infinite dimensional space. We already know that we have discussed that example in our linear algebra. Just to recall that. Okay. So, suppose you consider T as a T belongs to L2. T is a map from L2 to L2. Okay, such that T of you consider shift operator x1, x2, etc. as some 0, x1, x2, x3, etc. Okay, and U is equal to U of x1, x2, etc. as some x2. Okay, x2, x3, x4, etc. Okay, so now what about ut of sorry, ut of x1, x2, etc., xn? This will arise. Now what is actually ut of x1, x2, etc., xn, etc. is equal to u of t of this one is 0, x1, x2, x3, etc. And this is equal to x1, x2, x3, etc. And this is equal to identity operator I of or ID of x1, x2, etc. Okay, so in this case, we get ut is equal to id. Okay, now what about tu of x1, x2, etc. is equal to t of x2, x3, etc. Because u of x1, x2 is x2. Okay, and this is equal to 0, x2, x3, etc. Okay, so in this case, actually, what is tu? Tu not equal to identity operator. Okay, now if I is the identity operator, then clearly I of x1, x2, etc., xn equal to 0 implies clearly x, our x equal to x1, x2, etc. This equal to 0. Okay, but in this case ut is equal to identity operator. But what about tu? What about TU? In the case of TU, TU of x1, x2, etc., xn equal to 0 implies, but we get TU of x1, x2, etc. equal to 0 implies 0, x2, x3, x4, etc. Here xn, etc. Okay, here also xn, etc. In L2, we are considering this equal to 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and that implies x2 equal to 0, x3 equal to 0, etc. Therefore, if we choose some x is equal to some anything x1, 0, 0, 0, etc., then tu of x is equal to, clearly this is equal to 0, 0, etc. This implies kernel tu is not equal to z0. Okay, So if for a inverse operator, these two conditions are actually necessary. BA equal to ID and the AB equal to ID are necessary. Okay. Yeah, if one condition holds, that need not imply inverse exists. Okay. Now we are moving to properties of invertible operator. The first property is AB, if A and B are invertible operators, then AB is also invertible and its inverse satisfies the condition, this one. Okay. For proving this, given that A and B are invertible operators, so that means A inverse X. Therefore, A inverse equal to ID equal to A inverse A. Okay. Similarly, B inverse is equal to ID equal to B inverse B. Okay. Now, what about if you consider AB into B inverse A inverse? Okay. Then using associative property, we get A into B inverse A inverse. Okay, and this is equal to A into B inverse A inverse. Okay, and this is equal to AID A inverse, and this is equal to AID A inverse is same as, okay, ID A inverse, and this is equal to A inverse, and this is equal to ID. Thus we get AB into B inverse A inverse equal to ID. Now if you move to another part, B inverse A inverse into AB, and this is equal to B inverse using same associative as LX is a vector space, therefore associativity holds. Okay, you can write like this, and this is equal to B inverse ID B, and this is equal to B inverse ID B, and this is equal to B inverse B, and this is equal to ID. Thus we get AB into B inverse A inverse is equal to ID. Similarly, B inverse A inverse into AB is also equal to ID. Okay. Thus we get for any, if A and B are any invertible matrix, AB into B inverse A inverse equal to ID and B inverse A inverse into AB is equal to ID. This implies AB is invertible. This implies AB inverse exists. Okay, and AB inverse is same as AB inverse is same as B inverse A inverse. Okay. Now moving to the second property, and the second property is this one. If norm of A equal to Q and Q is less than 1, then I minus A is invertible and I minus A whole inverse is equal to sigma k equal to 0 to infinity A raised to k. Moreover, norm of I minus A inverse C is less than or equal to 1 by 1 minus norm of A. Okay, this is what we have to prove. Given condition is norm of A is equal to Q and Q is less than 1. Okay, and I minus A is inverted and we have to prove this one. Okay, now actually what is this one? This is actually sigma some k equal to 0 to infinity A raised to k, and this is same as 1 plus A square plus A cube plus etc. Okay, actually not 1, I plus. Okay, and in this case, what is this one? We will find later. Okay, now we have to prove this one. Okay, so we know that we have a result norm of AB is less than or equal to norm of A into norm of B. Therefore, norm of a square is less than or equal to norm of a into norm of a, and this is equal to norm of a whole square. Similarly, what is norm of AQ? Norm of a square a, and this is less than or equal to norm of a square into norm of a, and this is less than or equal to norm of a whole square into norm of a, and this is equal to norm of a whole cube. Therefore, in general, we can easily say that norm of a raised to n is less than or equal to norm of a whole raised to n. We have this result. Okay. Now, given norm of a equal to q, and q is less than 1. This implies, what about q raised to some k? Clearly, this is strictly less than 1. As k tends to infinity, q raised to k tends to 0. Okay. So, what about our norm of a raised to k? Norm of a raised to k is less than or equal to norm of a whole raised to k, and this is equal to q raised to k, and this is tends to 0 as k tends to infinity. Now let Sn is equal, we choose let Sn is equal to sigma k varies from 0 to n a raised to k. Okay. Now we are going to prove Sn is a Cauchy sequence. Okay. Now what is norm of Sn minus Sm? And this is same as sigma k equal to 0 to n a raised to k minus sigma k equal to 0 to m a raised to k. Okay. Norm of this one. Suppose we choose n is greater than or equal to m. And this value is actually, this is equal to norm of sigma k equal to m plus 1 to n a raised to k. Okay. Now as n comma m tends to infinity, clearly this norm is also tends to 0. Why? As n comma m tends to infinity, k, okay, and norm, this is actually less than or equal to sigma. This you can write as this is less than or equal to sigma k varies from m plus 1 to n norm of a raised to k. Okay, so as n comma m tends to infinity, this term a raised to k norm, and this is less than or equal to, and this is less than or equal to, we can write this k equal to m plus 1 to n norm of a whole raised to k, and this is q raised to k. As m comma n tends to infinity, this term tends to 0. Okay, thus we get norm of Sn minus Sm tends to 0 as n comma m tends to infinity. This implies Sn is a Cauchy sequence. Therefore, sequence Sn is Cauchy. Okay, so therefore it is convergent. Therefore, Sn is convergent. Now, actually, what is our Sn? Sn is sigma k equal to 0 to n a raised to k. Okay. So, sequence nth term is convergent. Therefore, our sum, if you consider k equal to 0 to infinity a raised to k, this series is also convergent. Okay. Now, what is actually I minus a into Sn? And this is equal to I minus a into Sn is I plus a plus a square plus etc. plus a raised to n. And this is equal to I minus a into, okay, I minus, this is actually, if you multiply with throughout by I, this is actually I plus a square plus etc. plus a raised to n minus a into I. This is a plus a square plus etc. plus a raised to n plus 1. Okay, a minus a cancel, a square minus a square cancel, and finally we get I minus a raised to n plus 1. Okay, um, now I minus a into Sn is equal to I minus a raised to n plus 1. Now what about a raised to n plus 1? We know that norm of a raised to k is tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Okay, therefore that means no, norm of an operator that's equal to 0. Okay, this implies a is a raised to, sorry, this as k tends to infinity. Therefore, we get a raised to n plus 1 is tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Therefore, this I minus a into, thus we get I minus a into Sn is equal to I minus a raised to n plus 1 and tends to I as n tends to infinity. Okay, therefore this term, this I minus a into Sn is tends to I as n tends to infinity. Now that means limit of this is tends to I. Okay, therefore what about limit of Sn? Therefore if you consider limit Sn, then clearly if you consider limit Sn is equal to some S, then I minus a into S is equal to, we get identity matrix. Sorry, identity operator. Okay, I minus a into Sn tends to I as n tends to infinity. This is the only term that contains n. Therefore, if you consider limit Sn is equal to S, that means I minus a into S is equal to I. That means S is the, similarly you can prove S into I minus a equal to I. S is the inverse of I minus a. Okay. Now what is S? S is equal to limit Sn. That means limit n tends to infinity. Sn is sigma k equal to 0 to n a raised to k, and this is equal to sigma k equal to 0 to infinity a raised to k. This is our first one. Okay, this is what we have to prove. Here we have to prove I minus a is invertible and I minus a whole inverse equal to sigma 0 to infinity a raised to k. Okay, thus we get I minus a whole inverse is equal to, I minus a whole inverse is S, S is equal to this one. Okay, thus that is I minus a inverse is equal to sigma k equal to 0 to infinity a raised to k. That means I minus a is invertible. Okay, now what we have to prove? Now we have to prove norm of I minus a whole inverse is less than or equal to 1 by 1 minus norm a. Okay. Here once again, norm of I minus a whole inverse. Now what is norm of I minus a whole inverse? And this is same as norm of sigma k equal to 0 to infinity a raised to k, and this is less than or equal to sigma k equal to 0 to infinity norm of a raised to k, and this is less than or equal to sigma k equal to 0 to infinity norm of a whole raised to k. Okay, norm of a is actually q. Okay, so this is actually, what is this one? Norm of a is a real number. Okay, so what about sigma k equal to 0 to infinity norm of a? It's a number, not be a real number. Okay, so this is actually a geometric series. And what about the sum? Sum is, this is of the form actually 1 plus norm of a plus norm of a square plus norm of a whole cube plus etc. And this is same as 1 minus or norm of a whole inverse. Okay, this is actually 1 by 1 minus norm of a, because this a norm of a is q and q is less than 1. If r is less than 1, then the sum of geometry series is 1 minus 1 by 1 minus r, and this one. Okay, therefore norm of 1 minus I minus a whole inverse is less than or equal to 1 by 1 minus norm of a. Okay, norm of I minus a is less than or equal, thus we get norm of I minus a whole inverse is less than or equal to 1 by 1 minus norm of a. And there is also a third property, and that we will discuss in our next class. Okay.